welcome you in if you're driving around town, listening to your radio, or if you're at work with your radio just now getting turned up on AM 640 Toronto Radio. Also, I want to welcome you in if you're listening on Star Choice on Channel 865, or if you're at the Primo spot, the El Numero Uno spot to listen to A View from Space, sitting in front of your Mac or PC at home, logged on to 640toronto.com, picking up the live audio streaming. Wherever you are in the world, I welcome you in. First time I've ever opened my mouth for any length of time about UFOs. It will be now. See, human beings have been seeing strange things in the skies since, well, the dawn of history, really. But did you know this? The idea that they are actually technologically advanced devices is pretty recent. They were first called X devices, although that word to describe them isn't used anymore. You know why it was originally X, don't you? X marked the man who took the left path. Cain. The mark of Cain is an X or a stylized cross, whichever you prefer. And that's why UFOs were called, in the very, very first instance, X devices. Just like the alien beings are called extraterrestrials. The first actual person to even suggest that mysterious objects and lights in the sky might be machines from another planet was probably the great American anomalist Charles Fort. He lived from 1874 to 1932. But it wasn't until the late 40s that the idea began to catch on. Late 40s will put you right after the Second World War, which is very telling. There was this famous saying by a pilot named Kenneth Arnold over the Cascade Mountains in Washington State, June 24th, 1947. Ever since that event, the UFO mystery has never, ever gone away. As a matter of fact, it has grown now to the point where more and more people begin to buy into the fact that there must be more intelligent life somewhere out there in outer space. Since then, there was an entirely new mindset that was propagated by the Illuminati-controlled media. That it must be true. That there must be other intelligent beings, if not in this universe, in another universe. They've made sure through their propaganda and brainwashing, through books, television, countless television shows, and movies that have given the impression that this phenomenon certainly has never been adequately explained to everybody's satisfaction. Actually, it's now more deeply ingrained into the public consciousness than ever before. And as a matter of fact, the flying saucer can really be described as one of the great cultural icons of the 20th century. Skeptics will argue that the reason for this mixture of wishful thinking or just misidentification of ordinary phenomena in the skies and out-and-out hoaxes, because there are those. But I think, personally, the truth of the matter is more subtle and more complex than it appears. Oh, it's certainly true that approximately 95% of sightings can be attributed to stars, planets, meteorites, satellites, aircraft, reflections, things like that. But what about the other 5% that can't be explained away so easily? Just look back at one of the classic UFO sightings from the early days of modern ufology. And there are many impressive sightings from the 90s. They are still the subject of intense debate, and I believe it's much more conservative, err on the safe side, to choose a sighting that has stood the test of time. A sighting that is still regarded as certainly the most genuine. And it was on May 11th, 1950, that it happened at 7:45 in the evening. That has just passed, May 11th, and the time of evening. Mr. and Mrs. Paul Trent watched a large object fly over their farm near McMinnville, Oregon, in the States. Evelyn Trent, Paul's wife, was out feeding their rabbits when she noticed this UFO in the sky, this unidentified flying object. She called her husband, Paul, who was able to take a couple of black and white photographs of it. The photograph showed a circular object with a flat undersurface and a beveled edge. Extending from the upper surface of the object was this strange piece that looked a lot like a submarine conning tower. You know, the submarines have those little towers sitting on the top? Which was not straight up and down, perpendicular, but was slightly tilted. The object in the sky was a bright, silvery object, and it moved across the sky in absolute silence. And then it went out of sight. The Trents later said that they had a slight breeze on their skin from the underside of the UFO as it passed through. It must have been pretty low. The Trents never went after any publicity after the sighting. In fact, they waited until they used up the rest of their film that was in their camera before having the photographs of the entire roll developed. I mean, that's how conservative these two farmers from Oregon were. They shot the rest of their film that was in their camera, shots left, before they went to get it developed. And they mentioned the incident to only a few friends. But news of the sighting quickly spread to a reporter from the local McMinnville Telephone Register newspaper, the small-town newspaper, who visited the Trents and was given the photographic evidence, actually a couple of negatives. A week later, the photographs appeared in Life magazine and became world famous. 17 years later, I pick up the story when I get back. It's AM 640, Toronto Radio. It's the Spaceman on A View from Space, just getting started with the mystery of UFOs. I'm Space, it's AM 640, Toronto Radio. Welcome to A View from Space, just getting started on the mystery of UFOs. 57 years ago, the most important event in UFO history happened in McMinnville when a local farmer and his wife captured evidence of interplanetary visitors on film. Or they merely snapped a couple of pictures of a still secret military aircraft. Or maybe it was an optical illusion. Or maybe it was a hoax. Even after 57 years, nobody yet knows what to make of the two photographs taken by Paul and Evelyn Trent. A bit after dinner, May 11th, 1950, and a lot's been made of the photographs What set the Trent's photographs apart wasn't the timing. They weren't the first photos purporting to show unidentified flying objects, and they've hardly been the last. There's been a lot of events like it, but this was of particular interest because of the clarity of the photos.